Welcome back to Eliances Heroes, where heroes in business align. To be part of our super community and find out more about Eliances, visit www.Eliances.com. Now, back to our super host, David Kogan, founder of Eliances.
Oh my gosh, what a morning it's been. I mean, we had on the founder and CEO of Axon, that's formerly Taser, a $4 billion company. And we just had on the editor-in-chief of So Scottsdale Magazine and author of The Color of Mother, Chelsea Young. Well, thank you, too, for the feedback we continue to have from having Tom Ziegler on, the son of Zig Ziglar, because you're listening to the Eliances Hero Show. Well, I got to ask you something, and this is really important, too, is it's all about love, right? And, hey, what's that? That's right. Well, many decide to get married, and then there's a platform, too, that's incredible. And I'm going to tell you about the platform later, but when the honeymoon is over and life sets in, what do? Our next hero has set out to create a solution to keep that fire burning. Yes, that's pretty much creating that miracle, and that's what he's doing in relationships. We have with us Steve Dziedzic, is the founder of Lasting, and you can reach him at getlasting.com, or of course we'll have it on our website, Eliances. That's ELIANCES.com, the only place where entrepreneurs align. Steve, how in the world did you create something to keep that love alive?
Well, first of all, thanks so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here, David. So I came into The Knot about 6 years ago. The Knot is the #1 wedding company in the world. They actually serve 8 out of 10 engaged couples in America, which is a crazy market share stat. But as a user-centered designer there, I was interviewing hundreds of couples to understand what their problems were when they were wedding planning. And something very unexpected came out of all of those user interviews. It dawned on me after many, many, many interviews that couples these days just don't actually understand what it takes to build a healthy, lifelong marriage together. And once I learned that, the entrepreneur in me just wanted to found a company to solve that problem. And so I actually, in a very cinematic way, put in my 2 weeks notice, as one does, to go build something new. And as soon as I did that, the CEO at The Knot scheduled this big 2-hour block of time on my calendar and wanted to just chat about why I wanted to leave and what he could do. And I just poured out my heart in that conversation, and I said, I really want to found a marriage company. I think there's a big opportunity here from a business perspective as well. And little did I know, he had 3 months prior to that moment contracted a group of marriage therapists to come to him and advise on how The Knot could actually help couples in our country with their marriages.
Unbelievable.
It was unbelievable. It was a deeply serendipitous moment. And we actually right there and then started to craft a new company to help marriages that would sit underneath The Knot's umbrella. And the big, huge thought was that since The Knot touches 80% of the new marriages in our country, that if we could actually figure out how to help marriages via a very simple product, that we could effectively alleviate the divorce rate in our country. And that's what we started out to do 3 years ago to this day. And I'm so proud to say that the app has become the #1 relationship counseling app in the country. Millions of people have used it, and 94% of the couples that use it together actually report stronger marriages after the fact.
#1 app for relationships?
For relationship counseling, yeah, that's right.
That's phenomenal. Okay, our listeners are dying to know. Can you share just some of those secrets of what makes it last, meaning what makes the marriage last, keeping them together and keeping that fire alive?
Yes. So luckily for me, there were many, many marriage research heroes, I'm going to call them, that have been studying couples for 30, 40 years. And these people, these scientists, have tracked couples in cohorts for a long, long time, decades of time, and they've tracked couples who report being healthy and happy after 40 years. And they also track couples who got divorced after some time. And so they actually know scientifically the processes and patterns in both groups, the healthy couples and the unhealthy couples. And the #1 factor scientifically that determines marriage health is emotional responsiveness from one partner to the next. And so this shocked me when I learned this statistic. But one researcher asked the question, since emotional connection is the foundation of any couple's relationship, is there one unit of emotional connection? He was a mathematician, so it's a fun question for him. But what if you were to accumulate 100 units of emotional connection, and what if the other couple only got 10? Would there be a difference? And he actually found that, yes, there is a unit of emotional connection, and it's any time you try to connect with your partner. And we call that an emotional call. And that can look like a wide variety of things. It could be like, hey, honey, how's your day at work? Or it could be, hey, check out my new shirt I just bought. Or it could be you're really struggling with something stressful and you want to talk to your partner about it. Regardless of how you try to reach out to your partner, that counts. That's an emotional call. And what one researcher found is that if you respond positively to 86% of your partner's emotional calls, you will have a happy, thriving marriage together. But if you only respond to 33% of your partner's emotional calls, within 6 years, you will get divorced. And you can predict that with a 96% accuracy. And so that's why responding to your partner's emotional signals is actually the chief goal in any relationship.
Oh, Mike, I'm just blown away by those stats alone. And you know what? Also, too, I'm blown away just our interview because you're listening to me, David Kogan, host of the Eliances Hero Show. Make sure you go to Eliances.com. That's Eliances.com because we have with us the founder and CEO of Lasting, Steve Dziedzic. You can reach him at getlasting.com or, of course, on our website, Eliances.com. That's Eliances.com. He is part of the Knot family. That's a $900 million family. Pretty big family to be part of and stuff. All right. How, Steve, does this app actually work, though? You said you do it with your spouse, or you do it individually, or you could do it both? Like, can you give us some of the things that somebody will see on the app itself?
Yeah, absolutely. So the app itself makes marriage counseling simple. We have data to suggest that most of the couples in our country would actually go to marriage counseling, but there are just a lot of barriers in place. It's expensive, it's time-consuming, and it's really, really hard to actually find a therapist you like and you like their methodology. And so we've taken the decades of science on relationships and put them into 5-minute sessions in our app. And they're guided sessions that actually walk you through the therapy process. And I like to relate it to a gym membership. We call Lasting the gym membership for your marriage. And so what happens at the gym? You start with a trainer, and they assess where you're strong and where you're weak, and then they set up a plan for you to increase where you're weak. And so Lasting actually starts with an assessment. It's quick, it's 28 questions, and it's free. It takes 5 minutes to complete. And that assessment helps determine where you're strong in your relationship and where you actually need to work in your relationship. And after that, based on all of your data, we set up a plan consisting of 5-minute sessions that you and your partner can take to kind of march forward in your relationship.
All right, Steve, what does love have to do with it?
Love has everything to do with it. But if I may, I think love is oftentimes misunderstood. You know, it's not about this feeling, and it's not about serving your own selfish desires. And in fact, the things that lead to really, really happy and satisfied couples are things like sacrifice and commitment and connection. They're things that take you out of your selfish personal world and into the life of another. And so really at the end of the day, it's all about connection. And the more you can get outside of your head and into your partner's head and more deeply understand their needs, the happier that you'll both be in the long term. And that's kind of counterintuitive for most couples. Most couples kind of want to make sure that their desires personally are intact. And a lot of people get into marriage these days thinking that marriage is largely about personal gain and making yourself a better person, but that's not true at all. Marriage is all about connecting with another person.
On all the research that you've done in your app and all of that, and clearly knowing about relationships, what advice do you have for young adults, kind of maybe in their first first in love with someone, or they think that they're in love with someone? What kind of advice, secrets would you share with them about that relationship that they're going to have for the first time?
Yeah, the advice I would give focuses on, it's going to sound cheesy at first, but go with me here. It's going to focus around the words we and me. And all of us have a me mentality when we first get into a relationship, and we all know what that looks like. We all know what the desire to serve ourselves actually looks like. But as you start falling in love with someone, you'll see this me desire start shifting into kind of a we concept. And with we, in a relationship, there's two unique individuals, but the relationship itself actually creates this unique third entity. And at Lasting, we call that the we entity. And so over time, you'll start having small sacrifices for your relationship that really starts to pour into the sense of we, the sense of teamship that you share with one another. And I would say in order to gauge at any point in your relationship if you're healthy or not and if you're satisfied or not, try to think about it in terms of we versus me. Like, what do I do during the day that serves myself, and what do I do that actually serves that third entity of the relationship? And how satisfied are my partner and I with our level of sacrifice in the relationship right now?
I love it. Well, Steve, we help to help others. And we are doing phenomenal things because you've been listening to me, David Kogan, host of the Eliances Hero Show. Steve, you inspire couples to build loving, lasting relationships. Love is what makes the world go round. That's right. And remember, the key word from Steve is we. It's about we. Steve Dziedzic, founder of Lasting. Go to getlasting.com. This is David Kogan with Eliances.